Hey there, horror movie tea sippers.
The following podcast episode will contain spoilers for the movie we are about to review. If you have not seen the movie and do not wish to have anything ruined prematurely, please do not continue to watch or listen until you have seen the movie.
And welcome to the Horror Movie Tea Podcast. On the last week of Asian Horror Month, we are covering another Indonesian film, which happens, coincidentally, we didn't do this on purpose, happens to be by the same director as the guy that did The Dolls.
Yes.
And it is called The Third Eye. But before we go into the review, let's grab our cups and talk about tea. I am drinking the Republic of Tea Calm Relax Tea. It's got red rooibos, cinnamon, orange flavor, dandelion root, orange peel, ginger root, and vanilla flavor.
And I am drinking Republic of Tea's Rest Chamomile Lemon Balm and Lavender Tea. It's got organic chamomile, lemon balm, passion flower, licorice root, and lavender. And it also has natural creamy French vanilla flavor.
I love how specific it is.
I was tired of saying organic before everything.
I mean, we just care what's in it. It doesn't matter if it's organic or not.
Nice that it's all organic, but...
Yep.
So...
But thank you to the Republic of Tea for allowing us to continue to do what we love. And for our tea sippers out there, brew yourself a cup of tea, sit back, relax, and we hope you enjoy the review. But so for the summary of The Third Eye. So these sisters' parents passed away by a car accident, and the younger sister is still school age, so the older sister has to go back and take care of her. Well, the only thing they have left is their parents' old home. So they get there, and the younger sister is very not happy, objectionable about it, because she is seeing ghosts and stuff, and the older sister doesn't believe her, so the older sister goes to a psychic. Yes. I guess is the best way to describe it. And the psychic explains, the psychic opens the older sister's third eye, which is for more Western audiences is like the sixth sense of like sensing the other side. And so once that's the older sister's third eye is open, she starts seeing stuff, and then it's them like figuring out who's haunting the house, why, what to do. Yes, what to do. But yes. So for entertainment, it's like me and Jess watched the trailer to this and we're like, okay, this might be pretty decent, but I was going in thinking, it's going to be a regular haunted house movie, maybe have some decent scares, maybe some not so decent. Like, I had a very particular mindset. It blew that out of the water. So I'm not going to pretend it's like the most amazing movie ever, but it is a very nice...
It has its faults.
Yes. But it is a nice, refreshing take on the haunted house subgenre. So I gave it a 7.5. There are some really good creepy scenes. There's definitely way better and way more creepy scenes than the whole truth and the doll. But it does still have the fault of using too much CG and that CG kind of ruining it.
But you do also see the growth that the director had. Because the other one, the doll was made in 2016. This came out in 2018.
Yeah, big improvement.
Yes, definitely. This one's definitely better.
Yeah, and the fact that there isn't anything that I have seen that is the same concept of this movie. Like, a haunted house is a typical concept, but it's not like the doll, where the doll was so cookie cutter. Like, you could tell...
Where they took scenes straight from Annabelle.
While this movie, it felt a lot more original.
Yes.
But in, of course, a good way. Like, and I love the dynamic of the sisters, where at first the older sister is very dismissive of the younger sister.
Very skeptical of the situation.
And then
Yes.
even after like her third eye is opened, she's like, "Oh, this is BS." But
I
then
don't see anything here. Barely gives it 2 minutes.
yeah. But
We're
then
seeing a psychiatrist tomorrow.
the reveal of her seeing it's like amazing and sad, because it's like you're embarrassed for her, and then you hurt for like the parent that she speaks with about
Yes.
her
Oh my god, that was awful.
dead child. But
Well, and the secondhand embarrassment too.
yeah, the embarrassment of the sister, and then the
Just the heartbreak of the mom.
yeah, like that would be awful. But and then the ghosts that they show, I really enjoy how they did the ghosts. Like especially like in the hospital scene, like the ghost that was on top of the car and her saying help.
I liked when she was on top of the car. When they had her crawl down the car, they could have done a hell of a lot better than that.
Yeah, as soon as
It got bad really fast.
yeah, like when she is still on the car looking at her,
Yeah.
that was top-notch creep factor. As soon as she moved down the car,
They had
and
some real
down-
bad green screen there, and
yeah,
could
like
have done a lot better with that.
like good practical effects, terrible like CG and digital effects.
yeah.
The one disappointing thing I did not like about the ghosts is it felt like the majority of the ghosts were like mangled looking and like
Almost
cut up,
zombie-esque.
and they would even like be jerky and come at them violently, which made it seem like
the jerky movements.
no, the jerky movement, it's like jerky movements is very reminiscent of a lot of Asian horror
yeah.
movies, but some of the jerky movements felt more like zombie
Yeah,
like
they did.
jerks. So it kind of depended on the actor.
It really did.
But the fact that like so many of them, yeah, they did tend to look more like zombies than ghosts. Though I will say the one scene in particular where that was not the case was whenever the sister goes downstairs in the middle of the night and sees the family and the glowing eyes. Yeah, me and Jess were like, oh no, that's not okay. And I feel like the slow reveal of like the family and like what happened to them and who killed them, like all of that's very satisfactory, and the ending of the movie is satisfactory, and then the twist, the sad heartbreaking twist that her boyfriend is actually a ghost.
He didn't deserve that.
Yeah, we'll kind of go into that more in the realism, because I'm sure me and Jess are gonna tear that
That
apart.
hurt.
But
You had no right.
yeah, because it's like all throughout the movie, we're like, he's such a good
I'm
guy.
sitting here like, he's so sweet and understanding. He's just going along with it. What a trooper. Please don't kill him. And he's just
It's like,
already
JK,
dead.
he's already dead.
He's been dead this whole time.
It's like,
You had no right.
but
You were wrong for this.
yeah, so it's like it definitely has some faults,
They did us dirty with that.
but there's a lot of things they did that I really think they did well.
Yeah.
The last thing that did kind of grate on my nerves a little bit, and this could honestly be me being picky, but the way that they did the ghost realm or whatever is like they're literally in a tunnel with a red light and a bunch of vines. It kind of felt like they were going through like
Some fog.
a haunted house.
Yeah.
Like a haunted house attraction, and they're like, oh look, there's a ghost, oh look, there's a ghost. Like it didn't, like, I hate comparing it to Insidious, because of course Insidious had a much larger budget, I'm sure, but it's like with Insidious it felt like the ghost realm, you know, because it's like it was just so otherworldly, Well, this one, it still felt very based in reality, and the ghosts were very, like, palpable, and it didn't quite hit it there for
Yeah.
me. But that's what I got for entertainment.
I give it a 7.25. I enjoyed it. There are some things that I feel like it could have been improved and some missed opportunities. But on the whole, I enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to the sequel for sure.
Yeah, there's a sequel.
Yes.
It's like, that's when you know it's a good movie, when we immediately get excited about there being a sequel.
Yes. So I just hope that this sequel does it justice.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of rare.
From the trailer, the fact that they immediately killed off the younger sister, like,
Yeah.
excuse you, you just repaired their relationship. What are you doing?
Nice
So we'll
spoilers
see.
there, Alyssa.
They know.
They
There's a warning in the beginning of the
necessarily
podcast that there's.
Not about the second movie.
Well, they say it in the
Rude.
trailer. If they say it in the trailer,
Not everybody watches the trailer, madam.
Anyways,
Rude.
the sister doesn't die. I'm kidding.
Anyway, I feel like they could have improved this a bit by... They had such a huge gap between the angry or tainted or dark spirits versus the nice ones.
Yeah, like, they could have had some more gray area ghosts.
They really should have had more gray area ghosts. Or at least a progression of those darker ones, the angry ones. Because they looked basically zombie-esque right from the get-go. When
course.
really it would have, I feel like, been more appropriate if there was a progression of their anger. Like, their anger is festering in them and eating away at them. So if they started out looking basically like they had when they died, which the little boy and the mom shouldn't have had, we'll get to that in the realism, too many injuries.
It was mainly the dad.
It was mainly the dad.
The dad got it bad.
And
Immediately got it bad.
oh yeah.
He got up and then Yep.
He went 0 to violence right there. That was pretty bad. But if the mom and the son looked fairly normal, and just as time went on, started looking more and more deteriorated.
And even if between the three of them, they had varying rates of deterioration.
Yes.
Because, like, as the ghosts, they all looked pretty similar.
Yes. So, and the sister had said some are 100 years old, like they've been around 100 years.
But they didn't show any ghosts that were that
And
old.
others that weren't that old. So I feel like there should have been varying degrees of rot or decay.
Yeah,
if you're
it was-
going to go that route.
It was very hot or cold, and yeah, you're
Yes.
right. Like, if the ghost was decayed, it was very decayed
Yes.
looking, and they're all like that.
Well, especially since earlier in the movie, the sister had said there's a lot of times where you can't tell
Yeah,
who's alive and who's a ghost.
and it's like, instead of
So-
playing with that, they're like,
If all of the tainted quote unquote spirits, because that's how they referred to a lot of them, or the dark spirits, if all of them look zombie-esque right from the get-go, then you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot with things you can do later in the movie.
yeah.
So there could be some darker or tainted spirits that haven't reached that progression yet, or that point yet, or the rot is mostly like hidden, but you don't know it, so you don't know who to trust, because you don't necessarily know that they're dead. Could have played around with that a lot more.
Yeah, because, like, whenever we first initially learned about, like, the third eye, and was like, crap, she literally can't tell who's alive, who's dead. That's a terrifying prospect.
Yes.
But then they obviously
I was excited for it.
Yeah, then they obviously show who's a ghost and who's not. It kind
Yeah.
of ruins the scariness of that prospect alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's scary in that with a lot of the nicer ghosts, the ones that can't tell that they're dead, that don't know, you don't know if you're talking to someone alive or if you look like a crazy person just talking to yourself.
Which is what happened to the boyfriend.
That is scary. Yeah.
That's kind of funny. I
that's
love
awkward.
the coffee scene where it's like the guy had
It's
ordered.
still heartbreaking.
I know.
But yes, that would be hilarious as a bystander to see that.
Yeah, he's just like, never mind, she's crazy.
Yeah, maybe not. I'm just gonna know about this situation.
And there goes my $8 coffee.
Yeah, I'm gonna chalk this one up as loss and it'll be fine. Maybe it's a bullet dodged. So that aspect of it is scary. It would have been scarier if there was a progression with the darker ones as well, though. So you couldn't tell with those either all of the time
I guess
if they were dead or not.
one thing with that, though, is like, how would they show the progression? Like throughout the movie, they would have to introduce like different characters and stuff like that in order to show that progression.
Potentially.
Like if the gardener, like if he had been dead from the beginning, for example, it would be like, that would be a good example of him like slowly like getting more rotted, or like maybe he starts coughing up blood.
Yeah.
And then just like goes downhill. But
the family could have been mostly normal. They could have actually shown the mom and the son while they were little. Because they only showed the dad when they were little and the sister got attacked the first time.
like maybe they started off friendly and they're
Yeah.
like, but then I don't know.
More annoyed that the family is in the house. Because that's what they were angry at them for. Is you're in our house.
Yeah.
But not quite, they haven't chosen violence quite yet. Apart from the dad.
See, for me, because the way that they did the ghosts, where they made them look very much in the real world rather than like being transparent or something, that would be, I feel like, a little bit confusing for the audience. Because it's like, you automatically then know, I don't know. I feel like that would be confusing for the audience versus like having the ghost immediately be like fleshy and stuff, because you're like, oh, I know that's a ghost. Because it's like that makes the twist with the fiance or the boyfriend all the stronger, because you're like, oh shit, like he's a ghost.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I definitely
see where you're
agree
coming from.
with the progression, but they would really have to change up the story to make that work.
Yeah. I don't know. I still feel like there should have been some kind of progression. They might not have needed to show it as much with the family in their house because they've been away for several years and the gardener's still around. So they could have progressed pretty quick. But
But they didn't know it was a gardener. I don't believe
they didn't know. But that would have likely been the explanation of...
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
But, yeah, I don't... Have we moved to realism?
No?
Okay. Yeah, we should do that.
Okay.
We got on a tangent and
Yep.
just, yeah.
Okay. Oh,
I'm sorry, guys, I'm hungry.
it'll be quick.
My brain has gone bye-bye.
So, realism's kind of a tough one.
They did a better job than the doll.
Yeah, I'm debating between a 3 and a 3.5. I'm thinking maybe a 3.
I'm gonna give it a 3.
Because, like, the most realistic aspect is the dynamic of the sisters and the growth of their relationship. But I will say the one thing that kind of annoyed me is the fact that once the older sister's third eye was open, she never apologized to her sister for being, like, she was honestly low-key kind of mean to her sister about, like, her not...
She seemed fed up in the beginning and just over it. Like, she had lived with it enough and had heard it enough that she just didn't believe it.
Yeah, but it's like her sister is suffering. It's like, have some empathy for like what.
Yeah.
It's like,
I feel like it's a sibling thing.
maybe.
But I do agree she should have apologized.
Yeah, that was the one thing that a little bit irked me. Because it's like, there was a part where she's like, I believe in you. But it's like, I believe in you facing the ghost, but not like, oh, I'm sorry, I should have believed you this whole time.
Yeah, it did help that she said, I believe you.
No, she said, I believe in you. Because she was scared of the ghost, and she was like, kind of like bringing her up.
No, I thought at one point she said, I believe you.
Because it was, it's like whenever the sister goes in her bedroom and she's like, I don't know if I can handle this. She doesn't say, I believe you. She says, I believe in you.
Okay.
And saying like, essentially like, I believe you're strong enough to like handle this. Yeah. We can watch it. I swear to God.
Okay.
We
might need a review on that one.
Well, because like I remember you saying that, and it was like right after she said that. I'm like, she said, I believe in you, but I was like, I thought you were referring to a different part.
No, I was referring to that.
Yeah,
one.
it says,
That's
I
what
believe in
read,
you.
So maybe my brain just edited out that one word. But whatever. Regardless, she should have apologized. Like that was years of not being believed and being, dismissed, basically.
Yeah.
Her fears and everything being dismissed, so an apology would have been nice.
Yeah. Also, was it the bank that was like, oh, you gotta move out? And oh no, it was the father's company.
Father's job. Yes.
Yeah, because it was a job that was funding the housing or whatever.
Yeah, they owned the house. They were letting him rent it, basically.
Okay.
So they were like, you gotta get out in 3 months.
Yeah, that's...
That might be a cultural thing, too, because I don't know of anything like that happening here. Like a company that you work for owns the housing and they're letting you stay there.
It depends on the company because like oil companies and stuff like that, they'll build in housing and for their workers and stuff. So it depends on the company and the location. And I know mining used to be that way. I don't know if nowadays are still that way. But yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not very common for sure.
Yeah.
But okay, did they address that the house was cleaned up before they moved there? Because it was extremely clean when they got there.
It was.
The house that was abandoned for a year.
Yeah. They had sheets over pretty much all the furniture, but they could have feasibly had a cleaning service come by before they got there. Because it would have taken time to pack up the apartment that they were in and move to the place.
That was my phone, I swear.
So it is possible they got a cleaning crew to do at least a quick once over.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of anything I can go over before I go straight to the elephant in the room. Also, well, okay, I guess there's two elephants in the room. Well, but okay, the gardener robbing them, how did he not get caught? Because
it was robbery and a murder.
Yeah, and it wasn't
3
like
count of murder.
Like, yeah, he covered up, but it wasn't like he was being that careful about it.
So, unless the police just really suck.
Because he would be the number one suspect. Like, he worked with them.
He had motive, he had means, he had opportunity. And he was in proximity.
Yeah.
So, gloves or not. Now, it is possible that all they had on him was circumstantial, and they couldn't build a strong enough case for it.
Yeah.
It is possible, especially if his wife vouched for him and gave him an alibi.
Yeah.
It is possible.
But also related to that, how did the family run out of oxygen?
In the closet? Yep.
Because it's like, it wasn't like a seal, it didn't appear to be like an airtight area. Because it was literally where their clothes were. Why would it need to be airtight? And then you look at the doors, and the doors are wood.
It's not like it's water sealed or
Like for like those double doors to be airtight like that, can you imagine the ingenuity in the builders
be a
and like
pain in the ass.
like yeah, and there'd be no point in them making it airtight when it's for clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the biggest, besides that, the biggest beef I had was the whole thing with the boyfriend being a ghost. It's like, it was a very good twist, but
I made you question so much with
my mind was like,
questions.
like after I was like, what? Like,
I have questions about this relationship.
cause like, you have to think he's living his life because he does not realize he's a ghost. So what about like paying for like coffee and food? Like, how
What
does
about him ordering food? They can feel him, but they don't see or hear him.
You're right. And so, yeah, and surely they had gone to a restaurant. Like, how
They've
did
been
he
together
order?
6 months.
Yeah, like how
They had a meal together, and I highly doubt she ordered every time for both of them.
Yeah, that would be weird. And then, as far as like driving goes, did she always drive? Did they always have taxis? Like, how did that work?
We had talked about that.
And I know you said taxis.
They were in a big city, so they could have walked or taken public transport or a taxi or something. So that I can believe.
But then it's like, well, was there ever a point where he's like, I'm going to open the door for you? Then how does that work?
He could touch things, remember?
Yeah. Could
He
you
opened the
imagine the
door.
taxi driver
Right?
seeing the door open
Right?
on its own?
I've got a telekinetic chick that's talking to herself in my backseat.
And
I'm
then
sure
you-
they've seen weirder, but still.
And then you gotta think of like where he lived.
Did she always pay for the meal?
Yeah, like that doesn't make like there's no way she paid for all the meals.
Everything together.
Unless if he's like, I'm a poor photographer. I don't think
didn't seem
I don't,
like it.
No. And then like where he lived, like how would that work? Like what the people moving in, because it's like they did establish, and especially since he's going into restaurants, he's obviously seeing people.
Yeah.
So it's like, how does it work if someone moved in where he used to live?
Yep.
Unless if Indonesia is like Japan, where in Japan, like if they know that someone died in that apartment or house, it is very difficult
But
for
he
them
didn't
to.
die in the apartment. He died.
Oh yeah,
in
he
the
died outside.
driveway.
Yeah, that's true.
Which was another issue in and of itself.
Yeah, like
Because the wound on his head was on the wrong side. We backed it up to watch him get hit by the car again, which was awful. But the car wasn't going that fast. And he never hit his head, like his head never touched the vehicle.
yeah, and we looked it up, and they have whole statistics on if a
Yes.
car hits you at this miles per hour, this is your percentage chance of survival or
It was
death.
about a 5% chance, which
With the assumption of 20 miles per hour, is that
possible,
right?
yes.
Okay.
Which is possible. And I'm not saying that there's no way he could have died from that hit. I'm saying the wound on his head was on the wrong side. Visually, it looked better. Movie-wise. Visually, aesthetically, it looked better. Realistically, it was crap.
Yeah. And then like the whole, I don't know what kind of knife the gardener used to cut off
It
the
looked
dad's.
almost like a machete, but not quite.
Yeah.
That thing had to have been sharp as hell. But he also has to be
He made
like
it look so
absurdly
easy.
strong. For it to go through leg muscle and bone.
Well, I guess it depends on what old type of gardening he's doing. Because if he's like
Yeah, he could
moving
be
tree
really
limbs and stuff,
strong.
he would be.
But
Like,
at the same
yeah.
time, one stroke with that blade and his leg came off like it was freaking butter. What?
Yeah. So, like, I can't imagine. Oh, this is gross to think about. I can imagine him like cutting the leg halfway through, and it's kind of like dangling there, and he's like, "What do I do?"
And most likely the blade getting stuck.
Yeah, stuck in the bone.
Yes,
Oh
there are
my
two
God.
bones in the
Yeah.
area that was cut off. Up here is actually the thickest bone in the body, but he got cut down below the knee. There are two bones there.
Yeah,
It went through both.
with no problem. Yeah. So it's like, while I know there are some very sharp knives and they can do some horrific damage, I don't know if it's possible for the type of knife he had to do that ease
know.
of. I mean, it made it. He cut it like butter.
Yes.
But that's all I got for my realism.
Yep.
Yep.
So you're not going to talk about the Final Destination moment with the parents?
It was a huge coinky dink, but seeing enough like storm videos of like vehicles getting hit with like trees and stuff, I put it in the weird realm of like odd possibility.
I feel like there would have been some kind of wrongful death suit.
Oh,
Some kind of
yeah.
neglect or something, because those bars should have been tied down better. There's no reason they should have slid out like that.
Yeah, like they honestly should have been making bank
Yes.
from their parents' death.
It legit was a Final Destination type death for the parents.
Yeah, and the fact that it's like exactly to like I wish that they had made it look a little bit more off like center or like diagonal or something. It's like, yeah, they got hit, but it wasn't like right square.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a little messed up. I did appreciate how the actress that played Abel portrayed her character, because you can tell even before the sister has her third eye open, you can tell her sister is scared. Just in her movements alone.
Yeah.
And her mannerisms.
Some really good actors in this movie.
Yes, they did a great job there. But there's different things like the death of the parents, the fact that no one got prosecuted for the Gardner's murder at the end.
Yeah, I forgot to
There was
mention
no
that.
investigation, nothing there. I thought that was going to be the elephant in the room you were mentioning, but
Oh.
nope.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, that was a big one there.
It wasn't. There's a lot of elephants in this movie.
Blatant murder there, and a gruesome one at that, but no one's gonna mention it at all. This is fine. When the sister mentions that someone is following her at school, and the older sister, it doesn't ask any further follow-up questions like, excuse you, who is this person following you? Have you talked to anyone about this? Is anything being done about this?
That's a problem.
Because that's not okay. Even if she doesn't believe that it's a ghost following her, someone following your family member, like a younger sister, is not okay.
Like, it could be a form of bullying. It could be like an unsafe situation.
Could be a
like,
stalker. Like,
yeah.
this is not okay.
Nope.
And no questions were asked about this. She just basically comes back with, your scores will be a mess if you don't go. I'm sorry. That's your biggest concern right now? Not the fact that your little sister could potentially have a stalker? Really?
Unless if her sister thought she was making up excuses. But yeah, it's still.
But I still would question it
Yeah.
a bit. So, yeah, also in one of the scenes, the headphones kept changing position. Sometimes it was on her ears, sometimes it was around her neck. In the same scene, like, they would switch the view of the camera, and the headphone position would change. Back and forth. A lot. It was accurate when the older sister, was scared after her incident.
Oh, that
And
was
she opened the
great.
door to her little sister's room and she's like, sleep with me.
That was cute. I like that scene.
Accurate. I would not be sleeping alone either, and none of the lights would be off. Yeah, the family running out of oxygen in a closet was bull. They also, I feel like, had wounds on the son and the mom
They did, yep.
that I know he swung a time or two more after he put them in the closet, but there were too many wounds for it to be plausible.
Yeah.
So it
Like with
just
the
seemed
closet,
off.
I wish they would have said, like, they starved to death or something, because I feel
That
like
would have
that's
made more sense.
plausible.
He locked them in, so that would have made a lot more sense. But they suffocated
Yeah.
in the closet. They ran out of oxygen. No.
That'd make kids playing hide and seek a whole new level of dangerous.
Now, it can potentially happen with certain, like, chests and things.
Yeah, chests or, like,
Luggage,
safes.
things like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But a closet? Really? I'm not really buying that. But yeah, the whole thing with the boyfriend being dead and how does that relationship work? There were no signs whatsoever. Who's paying on all of the dates? Who's ordering all the food?
And did they have kinky ghost sex?
Was he eating the food that was ordered?
Yeah, how would that work?
Because he can move doors and things, but what about food? How does that work? I have
Would
questions.
he be going to the bathroom?
I have so many questions. So many.
Yeah, it's like surface level. You're like, wow, that's such a great twist. And then you...
And then you start thinking about it and you're like, none
what?
of this makes any sense. Also, with his death, he looked both ways before he started stepping off the curb into the driveway area, but he didn't see the giant ass SUV coming for him. Seriously? Just teleported, appeared out of nowhere. Yep, sure. And again, the SUV wasn't even going that fast. It was a driveway area with a bunch of people around. It was going maybe 25 max.
He took that 5%.
He really did. He just rolled a 1. And ended up with a wound on the wrong side of his head.
And still died from it.
Yes. And it was instant too. There was no bleeding out. There was nothing. He was just gone. So the whole thing seemed it was a WTF. The whole thing.
And it's so funny because it's like they're so gung-ho in using CG in other scenes. It's like that would have been the perfect scene to use CG because that way they could make the car go faster. And
they
then
could have the tires screech when they saw him and tried to stop. But there was not even a screeching of tires or anything. Like, it stopped immediately after it hit him.
Yeah, because I feel like...
Which means they were not going that fast.
They were going so slow so that way they could have the practical effects of him getting hit.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they should have just CG'd a body.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, the older sister killed a guy and not arrested, no investigation, nothing when it was very obviously murder. There was intent. It was not an accident. He had several wounds. He was stabbed a lot.
And there's a lot of DNA.
He was stabbed a lot. Her fingerprints were everywhere.
Lots of DNA.
Yeah, no. Okay. So that's what I had there. I'm good now.
Good. Like overall, I think it is a movie worth watching.
Yes. It might sound like we were dumping on it with that, but we really
did
was
enjoy
good.
It's just realism falls apart pretty quickly.
It does.
But
Don't question it too much and you'll enjoy it more.
yeah. But it is worth a watch.
Yes.
Especially I like the fact that it's a twist on the haunted house niche. But thank you for joining us today, and please comment on what you thought of the movie. If you'd like to recommend a movie, game, or tea and keep up to date with their content, you can find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Discord, and most places you listen to podcasts.
Everywhere. And if you'd like to support the podcast, please subscribe, like, and share our content. If you'd like to support us monetarily, we do have our Teespring and our PayPal available, or we have our affiliate link with Republic of Tea. Again, it does not affect the price of the tea at all. It just allows us to continue to do what we love. And all of those sites mentioned, all of them, the various sites,
All of them.
everywhere, everything is mentioned and linked down below. And until the next time, guys, stay safe and stay spoopy.
Bye.